right? He's supposed to be the people set up around to commit the actual judgment on people, right? So he's just writing on the finger. He's just writing down on the ground, not even paying him no attention, right? And then he said to them, that is without sin, let him cast a stone at her. Right? Keep going.
Verse 8. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground.
So then he stooped back down, got back to what he was doing. Writing down on the ground again, right? Keep going.
Verse 9. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience.
See that? They was convicted by their own conscience. Keep going.
Went out one by one, beginning at the eldest.
So they went to the eldest. They went out one by one after hearing that, right? Being convicted by their own conscience. Because they know this man, he knew things. He knew if they were, without sin or not. They couldn't lie to him. Keep going.
Even unto the last. And Yahushua was left alone. And then the woman standing in the midst.
So now, all of them left because they was convicted by their own conscience. So it was only Christ and this woman that was left. Keep going.
Verse 10. When Yahushua lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where art thou thine accusers?
So now he said to her, when he looked up, he didn't see nobody. He said, where's your accusers? What happened to him? Right? Where they go? Keep going.
Have no man condemned thee?
So he said, have none of these men here condemned you. None of them condemned you to death. Because you're supposed to die. This is a Levitical law, right? It says that, you must die if you commit adultery, right? You and the adulterer. But if you noticed, you didn't hear nothing about the adulterer, right? Because they already killed them already. Keep going.
Verse 11. She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her,
So this the man. So he said, none of them are here. Keep going.
Jesus lifted up himself and saw none but the woman.
No, go to she said, no man, Lord. Yeah. After that.
She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
That's what a judge is supposed to do. He's supposed to go. He's supposed to execute a judgment, or he could give mercy in the case, right? See, in this time, Yahushua is giving mercy because he knows that all of Israel is messed up. And at certain points, you can't, we can't kill everybody. We got to let them be able to come back in. And then, what did it say? If you notice, there is no forgiveness for sins, right? Once you come into the law, right? Then there's no forgiveness for sins. So after this, when we get back our own kingdom, right? You won't be learning this from the child, growing up. Everybody gonna know the law, right? I think that's even a scripture I'm paraphrasing. It's telling all the children gonna know the law. It's gonna be in their hearts. How's it gonna get in your heart? You're gonna be raised from this from birth, right?
Lucky, sir.
You can hear you, but
Hold on. It is what?
It is frozen. You can hear you, but it's frozen. It's in one spot, but you can hear you.
Sister Rakita checking in.
Okay, this is who checking in? Who's checking in?
Rakita, Young and Charles Rap.
Rakita?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Yahweh Shemal Atah B'Hashem Yahweh Shah says. Alright. Okay. Everybody can still hear me pretty good?
Fine.
Okay.
Sir.
Alright, most of Christ. Alright. Somebody give for me the probably need somebody I wish we had another brother in here. Yeah, can you come up here and read it loud for me? The book of Exodus, chapter 18, verse 16.
18 and 16, sir.
Come. Now this is Moses, right? He was put on the seat to judge the people, right? He's a, lack of a better term, he was like how Commander Yahanna is over everybody, right? He's the final say of the judges, right? Of everybody. Now this is the structure on how the judges are to be made. Keep going. Read that when you got it.
Hold on, sir. The book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 18.
No, 18 verse 16.
That's a lot, sir. The book of Exodus, chapter 18, verse 16. When they have a matter, they come unto me.
So we saying when they have a matter, they come unto him, right? When everybody have a matter, whatever issue they got of each other, they come unto him. Keep going.
Oh my God. And I judge between one and another.
And he judges between these two brothers. He hear the whole matter, right? That's another scripture that says, hear the whole matter, right? See if I can find that. Keep going.
Oh my God. And I do make them know the statutes of God.
And he makes them know the statutes of God. So he makes sure they know all of the things that, how brothers should treat each other. Make sure you know everything that is known, the laws, right? Keep going.
And his laws.
And his laws. You're going to understand the statutes and the laws, right? Keep going.
Verse 17. And Moses, father-in-law, said unto him.
Okay, now this is father-in-law. He's, trying to do this. His father-in-law says it to him. Keep going.
The thing that thou doest is not good.
So he said, what you doing, this is not a good thing, right? We're going to find out why. Keep going.
Verse 18. Thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and this people that is with thee.
So he's saying, you will surely wear away. It's going to wear on you. It's going to wear on you hearing everybody's problems all day long. Like, he stole my sheep. Some of these things are small matters, right? These things are going to wear on you, hearing these things over and over and over time, right? Keep going.
Oh my God. For this thing is too heavy for thee.
So it's too heavy. It's too heavy for one man to judge a whole nation, right? You're just a man. It's too heavy for you to one man to judge this whole nation. Keep going.
Oh my God. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone.
So you're not able to perform this by yourself. You're going to need some help. Keep going.
Verse 19. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel.
So he gave Moses counsel. He going to tell him how to do this matter in the right way. Keep going.
And God shall be with thee.
And God will be with you. Keep going.
Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the cause unto God.
Keep going.
Verse 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt shew them the way wherein they must walk.
So he's going to show them the ordinances and laws and show them the way to walk. Keep going. The way to walk. Keep going.
And the work that they must do.
And all of the work you got to do, right? Keep going.
Verse 21. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God.
So he's going to get some able men, those that fear God, right? Somebody on the call got something that was trying to say something? Hello? All right, keep going.
Men of truth, hating covetousness.
So men of truth, men that have it in their heart and spirit, they hate covetousness. Anybody know what covet means? Go ahead.
It's to want that someone else has.
Con. It's the one that's not yours, right? So that's what a lot of these matters are. Somebody hating something that doesn't belong to somebody else. Like, like I said, if you go to a judicial system, right? Most of the causes is this mine or is this theirs, right? Is this my money? He defrauded me out of this money. Is this mine or is theirs? That's most of the our ranks from, right? 50, 500 to 1,000, 5,000. Captains of 10,000, 13,000. That's where we get our ranks from, right? You supposed to be able to judge over this amount of men, right? You're supposed to execute judgment, and rather, what you say goes, right? Keep going.
Verse 22. And let them judge the people in all seasons.
So they gonna judge all of the people at all of the time. Every day they gonna judge the people. All seasons, right? Keep going.
And it shall be that every great matter that they shall bring unto thee.
So every great matter, the big things, when it's like when something goes from, I forget all the whole court system, when it go to the regular court, then it goes all the way up to Supreme Court in certain cases. When things go all the way up to Supreme Court, this when it goes to Mo. That's the great matters, right? Keep going.
But every small matter they shall judge.
So all the little small matters, your 50s and your hundreds, captains over hundreds, all of them are going to, do the work for. They're going to do all of the, the smaller matters. Because if you over the whole nation of Israel, right? You can't be, if this sheep belongs to this brother here, you got a lot other work. You got other work that you got to do because you over the whole entire nation, right? Keep going.
So shall it be easier for thyself.
So it's gonna make it easier for you, right? Keep going.
And they shall bear the burden with thee.
And they gonna bear your burden as well. So you ain't gotta, be, it's delegation, basically. You delegating some of the work out. So everybody can have a little bit of their fair share. This brother here, he might be good at, dealing with adultery. This brother here, getting those words out. This brother here might be good at dealing with money. He's good with finances, real tight. He's good with numbers. We're going to delegate these things out to so a different brother can handle it, so he's not handling everything. Just imagine if Commander General Yahanna had to handle everything that happened in Israel. He would be worn the hell out, right? He would be, he won't have time for his family. He won't have time for himself. What if he just want to sit down on the couch and watch TV one day? He ain't going to have time to, ever. It's going to become burdensome, right? Keep going.
Verse 24. So Moses hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he said.
Did you, I don't think you stopped at, 23, yeah.
Verse 23. If thou shalt do this thing, and God command thee so, then thou shalt be able to endure.
So he said, if you do this thing, and God commands you to do so, you should be able to endure all of this. You know what I'm saying? It's long enduring. You got to spread some of the work out. Keep going.
And all this people shall also go to their place in peace.
And all the people shall also go to their place. Go back home in peace, because, you're not being, a lot of times, like when judges have to judge every single thing, it starts to, they don't have a break to reset themselves. It makes them, a lot of times, they could become more harsh or become too merciful. Too harsh or too merciful. Because they don't get a break to reset themselves. Because they're burdened. They're either not going to give it, either not going to care anymore and just let everybody get off, or they're going to care too much and they want to put everybody in everybody got to die. Right? Appreciate it. Anybody got any questions on that at all?
No question, but this is heavy, sir. Just heavy. I understand what's being said. And on a very small, if I may, on a very small, minute scale.
Come on.
Because what can happen is if you don't get the counsel for how you're moving, and then if you don't say anything, and you are putting in work, you can find yourself in a place of either resentment or getting burnt out. And that's just on a small scale, because honestly, speaking for myself, what I've done really is nothing. But at the same time, you can make it into something if you don't get the proper counsel on how you're moving.
Come on, exactly.
Which can wear you out.
That's why we got counselors all over, right? That's why you are in a UPK. That's why you're in a class. because you're here to learn how to be a counselor. Because I heard before General Yahanna, he said that basically, he said, you know, we need counselors in Israel. That's what we need, because we need people to be able to learn how to deal with one another. We don't need quote unquote leaders like that. We don't need, you know, Umar Johnson, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. They don't do anything for people. Because what happens is, just like with anything, right? Malcolm X, right? Who killed Malcolm X? And who killed Malcolm X?
Sir.
Go ahead on, sis.
The Nation of Islam.
Exactly. The Nation of Islam killed him, right? Why was he killed? Because they didn't have any structure. They didn't have any counselors, right? There was nobody to say, like, okay, because, you know, it's a rumor that Farrakhan did it, right? That's the rumor. Farrakhan got people to do it. But let's go with that for just a second. Let's say he did do it, right? The reason why it was able to happen because there were no counselors to go between him and Malcolm X to resolve their issues, to stop them from killing them, right? There was nobody to resolve that. So we don't need leaders, because we're not going to keep leaders. We're going to kill ourselves, man. Because we ain't got nobody. When somebody gets offended, there's nobody to go in between those two brothers and give righteous counsel, man. Righteous judgment on that matter, right? Any questions at all? All right. Go ahead.
I don't kind of search for a heavy point bringing out. You know, these heathens amongst us, they got no counsel, they got no righteous judgment, right? So instead of settling it on to the brother and fixing whatever problems they got, you know what I mean, they went to the Edomite, and then they went to the Hamite, got some money from Liberia, they getting drug money, and all that stuff. So instead of the counselor, you know, being a negotiator, a mediator to help resolve the issue, and with them, the counselor is the one that's pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, man. That's a heavy point. That's why it's just so important, man. That's why we gotta all learn how to do. That's why we under Commander Yahanna and all of the generals, so we can learn how to do the right type of counsel. That's what I'm saying?
Going back to the point that you made about if you said it was General Yahanna saying that we need counselors, not a whole bunch of people trying to be leaders. That's heavy right there, because if you understand what it is that you're actually to do, that would change the mindset. Not that anyone's doing this, but that would change the mindset of people wanting to chase rank for power. But then they be chasing rank so that they have more ability to counsel. Because they have the ability to do that. So there's a responsibility in understanding what the rank means. Because I understand that at a certain rank, you are allowed to give counsel. But at a certain you aren't. So understanding that leadership, so it makes me think about commanding General Yahanna, and how he basically does the counsel for the entire nation of Israel. And that's extremely heavy. You don't want that work.
Exactly.
So that's heavy. It's a great responsibility.
It's a heavy responsibility, man. I don't know how he handles it. Tell you the truth, he has to literally hear. He's the most, like, he's patient when he hears you. I don't know too many people that's that patient. Only person I've seen that's that patient is Sadar Mouth. That's about it. That's the only brother I've seen that patient. Right? Let's go from here. Give me Proverbs 18 and 13. Go ahead.
You don't think I'm patient, sir? No, Salaki, I'm just joking.
No, I'm talking about the patience that I see that is like that amount. If anybody knows that brother, he's the most patient brother you have ever met.
Indeed, I'm just joking. I definitely have to work on that myself.
Time.
Proverbs
18 and 13.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him.
So a man who wants to answer a question before you hear the whole matter, right? You're supposed to hear the whole matter of the situation, right? You can't hear half of it. You got to hear both sides before you make a judgment, right? You got to hear both sides of it, right? So you can make that judgment. All right. Let me see. All right. All right. Now drop that. All right, drop that. Okay. Y'all do know y'all heard of the book of Judges before, right? That was because we had judges, right, that was set up in different provinces. Like this judge would judge Decatur, this judge would judge, Atlanta, this judge would judge, Henry County, whatever the case is, right? You had different judges that have been put into place. Do you realize that? See if I have it here. Pull out when I want to pull out next. Go to Judges 2 and 16.
The book of Judges, chapter 2.
This is the responsibility of judges, right? Keep going.
Verse 16. Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges.
So the Lord, he raised up some judges during this time, right? He got them raised up. Keep going.
Which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them.
They delivered them out of the hand. Just like you said, we raised up. That's why we say you got raised up in rank, right? That's where we get that term from. You got raised up. All right, keep going.
Verse 17. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges.
And yet they would not hearken unto their judges. This what caused a lot of issue with Israel. That's why Israel and the whole nation, well, everybody needs to hearken to the judges of the I.S.U.P.K. That just goes without saying. I heard on Cross the Line the other day that basically it was even an oppressor called in and said he would rather Captain Tazariak and the men of the I.S.U.P.K. judge his matter while he in court than his own damn court system. With that, get Commander General Yahanna. Just for that, right there by itself, he's raised up men that even an oppressor, this is his court system. His people set it up, but he would rather an Israelite do it, right? He would rather an Israelite. There's even studies I've seen before, right, that black and Hispanic judges judge more fairly over the spectrum than everybody else does. So when you have an oppressor judge, when you look at the sentences given out, they said what black men is giving out like 60% more time for the same crime that they'll give an oppressor, right? Or these other nations, man, they give us more time because they're not supposed to be in rulership, man. They don't live by any laws. That's why they get caught doing everything illegal. What did I see? I'm trying to remember what I saw, but it was a judge. They get caught in child. I think one of them had child porn. Was doing all type of things, man. They found it on their computer, right? All types of stuff, man, and they got arrested doing all type of wickedness, man. And they wonder why the whole system is wicked, why it doesn't work right. How you get so many people that they got. It's a shame they have some other oppressors had to come up with something called Y'all ever heard of the Innocence Project? Innocence Project, and they try to get people out of jail that had bad sentences, right? That they could have been innocent. Now, how do you get put in jail for something that they can't really prove? Y'all do know, like what, 90% of cases don't even really go to trial. They get somebody to plead on something. They never actually get it like an actual guilty by jury. Most cases don't even do that. Go ahead, sis.
There was also, I can't remember the name of the project, but the judge was getting paid for sending kids down the road.
Yeah, they get paid for that.
Yeah, they would come in and not even, like you said, not even go to trial or anything, but he was getting paid for each kid that he sent down the road and gave time to.
Yep. They would give them harsher sentences. They were getting paid for that. They literally getting paid for that because they, the prison systems, right? They make so much money off of you when you go to prison. They make what? All this, and they pay you what? Like 50 cents a day? That's the only way they can enslave you. That's what the 13th Amendment said, right? They could put you in slavery as long they can't put you in slavery unless you commit a crime. But then they put you in crimes that you may not even have done. Remember the Central Park 5? They got put, what? The one brother, he was in jail, what, like 17, 20 years? Like, he was in jail for a long time, man. And they gave them all combined $50 million after they got proven innocent. 5 men. They got to go with their families. They was locked up since the time they was like, what, 17, 16, 18? And they basically got their life ruined because of this. And they said, and here's how they calculated. They calculated how much time they think you would have made during that time. And they say, okay, during the time you've been locked up, we give you this amount of money. So they saying those 5 men, they were only projected to have made $50 million through all 5 of them. So $10 million a piece, and that's what they give them. And they said they really didn't even get the money. A lot of it went to the damn attorneys. So they getting robbed on both ends. They got robbed from their life and their childhood. Then they get robbed from the money they were supposed to get as a recompense for being locked up falsely. Who was that up? Who was that?
Kind of a concept. The water, if I may, it was real heavy bringing out. And what the sister said, there was a judge in Pennsylvania, who was, they just released him last year, because of the corona mess and whatnot. And he was just getting paid. He sent, and I think it was several. It was one in 2011. It was one that happened in 2020. And there was a one, I forgot where, I think it was in Virginia, but he got caught. And he was, he killed himself. One, if I may, so there's another judge who was actually in charge of a case when it was persecuting UPK in Philly, and it got caught out. He got caught doing some shenanigans, and that judge killed himself before and the case and the UPK was victorious in that case. So
Damn, was that a so-called oppressor?
Kind of.
All right. Get the most high hand. Tried to destroy the brothers, bringing out the truth. Tried to destroy them, and then see what happened to him. He got destroyed. That's proof that the Most High is with the ISUPK. There's something you want to say up?
Kind of a concept. Going back to that point that you made about how the oppressor obviously gives Israel more time than anyone else, and that the Israelite judges, being black or Hispanic, are more fair across the board. That right there in itself breaks down the scripture, letting you know that the laws, statutes, and commandments weren't given to our oppressor.
They were not meant to be judges over the people.
So we are operating in it, not even realizing that we're operating in it. In the sense when I say
exactly
when the judges are giving out the judgments fairly. they are actually operating in the judicial system.
God. Just like anybody know the precept of that?
For
What you just said. Even though they don't know the law, they still do the law. Anybody know the precept for that? All right. Look up law unto themselves.
So I can, sir, if I may.
Go ahead.
I don't care. Can we use John 4:22? Do you know not what you worship?
I mean, yeah, but that's not what the point I was bringing up. You could say that we know what we worship. You could say that, but you want to put this one first. It's Romans 2 and yeah, but start at 13.
Come on, the book of Romans, chapter 2, verse 13. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
Hold on 1 second. 13 to 14. All right. So not just the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law should be justified. So not just hearing, but the doers of the law. Keep going.
Come on, verse 14. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these have not the law, are a law unto themselves.
These having not the law. So those brothers, the Gentiles, of course, is talking about the Israelites in another nation, right? They don't know the law because they weren't born in Israel, right? But when they have not the law, they do by nature. It's more natural for us to do the law, right? Like, yeah, we might eat shrimp, crab, and pork, right? We might eat those things, but most of us don't eat octopus. We ain't eating bats, right? Certain stuff we just like from. And the only reason why we did those is because like on how it was given unto us. Pork was given unto us as though we couldn't eat anything else, right? And shrimp, crab, and lobster was made it to be like a delicacy. So then it was one, you was forced to eat this, and the other one, you were kept from eating it. But you look at it, if you honestly look, like the thing I noticed too, like I remember before I came into the truth, I would eat crab legs, right? That's because I never actually looked at a live crab and decided I don't want to eat it. Before I look at, before they crunch it all up and get it all, they separate it out. When I first went to a place down in Florida and I actually looked at this thing looking back at me, I wanted no parts. Because it looks like a roach. It looks disgusting. Right? And we go and eat that. That's why we naturally will abstain from eating those things. The Native Americans, they didn't eat that. I can, maybe one of these Monday night history class, I'll bring it out that the Native Americans, they didn't eat pork. They abstained from all of that stuff. They was following the law not all of it, of course. They was going to other gods, but a lot of things they were following. They didn't eat pork. They didn't eat shrimp and crab. They didn't eat these things. Go ahead.
It's like you, sir. Not that you can look at me and tell that I'm a picky eater, but when it comes to like shrimp, I knew that I never really liked shrimp because of the way it looked and the texture. There's something about it I just couldn't get with it. But then also I would do the same thing with pork. If I ate sausage or something like that, I would look at it, and sometimes just looking at it, something felt like, I'm like, man, this is just nasty. I would eat it, but over time, I don't know, before coming into the truth, I just looked at it and was like, this is something don't look right about it. Yeah. And of course, I guess that was the natural part of me.
You're not supposed to like it. Like, the one thing that you never really noticed, like I noticed too, when I would eat like shrimp and crab and all of that, you would get sick. Like I would eat it, and then later on in the day, my stomach hurting. Because you're not supposed to eat that stuff, man. It's not good for you. But I'll tell you right now, I'd have ate I done ate a whole gob of lamb, and my stomach, my stomach didn't feel nothing but satisfaction. Right? I ain't feel nothing but satisfaction. But I eat that crab, I'm sick for the rest of the night and tomorrow. Cause you're not supposed to eat that. All right, go ahead.
In addition to that, it also it runs your blood pressure. I actually caught tapeworms as a little girl.
Yep.
Eating pork. I was born in Atlanta, so that's like eating like southern big breakfasts. But I caught tapeworms at like 9 or 10 years old from somebody cooking pork, and it probably was undercooked.
Yep. They got tapeworms. You like, man, if you knew how really disgusting pigs are, you would never want to touch a pig. Like, a pig is literally the garbage disposal of the earth. Like a man back in like old times, they would actually get like a bunch of pigs, because our trash, we would throw it out the window, right? We didn't, at certain instances we would throw it out the window, right? This before we had like landfills and garbage, stuff like that, that was actually made by our Hispanic brothers, the Mexicans, right? They got that from the, what's the name? What did they call themselves? Before, not the Incas, not the Mayans. It was another, the Aztecs, yep. Aztec Indians. They got that from the Aztecs. Getting the trash and taking it somewhere and taking it, going from in front of your house and taking the trash and making a landfill. Getting, letting it, become into, you know what I'm saying, fertilizer, and you can grow your crops with it. The Mexicans did that, man. Right? But before, in other places, we would have the pigs just go and eat it up. And that's how we got rid of our trash. This is what they do. These pigs, they don't sweat. So all of that, when you sweat, like, you ever get like, accidentally get like sweat in your mouth, it tastes salty. That's the salt and sodium leaving your body that you need to leave your body, right? And you can put a little bit more in. That's why you got to take Gatorade, which gives you back sodium, right? If you just have nothing but water and no salt, it would actually kill you, right? At least, if nothing, I don't know, maybe not kill you, but I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, but it will at least make you very sick, right? It's not good for you. You need salts back in your body, right? So, and that being said, pigs don't sweat. So all of that sodium is being stored into their meat. And that's what you're eating. That's why we get high blood pressure from eating pork. Is that, and of course, we under the curses, right? So if we eat pork, of course, we gotta deal with the curses that God given, that's given us, right? Was somebody saying something? All right, keep reading that in Judges chapter 2 for me.
Oh, God. Starting at 14 again, sir.
No. Go to 17.
Romans 2 and 17?
Yep. No, Judges 2 and 17. Oh, wait, did I already read Romans? Okay, I already read that. Yep. Go to Judges 2 and 17.
The book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 17. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges. Mm-hmm. But they went abhorring after other gods. So they wouldn't hearken unto they judges, because the judges wanted to kill, stone to death the people that went against other nations. But other people were coming up against them. They didn't want them to do it. And so they seen somebody serve another God. You're supposed to go and tell that brother, have a witness, right? And then the judge judged that matter. But they didn't want to listen to the judges no more. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. Right? Keep going. One more time. They bowed themselves unto them. So they bowed themselves. They seen other gods. They went to Islam and said, Muslims say you can eat pork. You can't eat pork unless there's nothing else for to eat and you about to starve. Right? That's what Muslims say. You can eat pork in that case, but they can still eat shrimp, crab, and lobster, right? They can still eat all of those things. They don't tell you that.
They can still eat all of those things. Shrimp, crab, and lobster. That's how you know they book is toilet paper.
Right.
Because if it was the truth, it would come and it would say the same thing that the Bible been saying.
Right.
All right, keep going.
Khan. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so.
So their fathers walked in the ways of the Lord, right? And they decided they want to do the complete opposite. Keep going.
Khan, verse 18. And when the Lord raised them up judges, then the Lord was with the judge and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge.
So now they would get a judge that comes in. He gets them to listen. He gets somebody that they'll listen to. He'll start raising them up, right? Then they'll get them out of that, out of the people that oppressed them. Keep going.
Khan. For it repented the Lord because of their groanings, by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them.
So now, that's why it's so powerful to hear. Like, this is what would happen, man. This is what would happen. We would come into captivity, and then we start groaning. Then now we won't listen to somebody again. Now when we get in our own land, we good, man. We don't need to listen to no judges no more. We good. Then boom, we come right back into slavery. Now we start groaning to the Most High. Man, I'm tired of this oppressors, man. I'm tired of them. And now he's sending somebody to get us out of captivity. Keep going.
Khan, verse 19. And it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers.
More than their fathers. So after the judge died, they said, we're going to go even worse than we did. Keep going.
Khan. In following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them, they ceased not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn ways.
They ceased not. They didn't want to come from that, man. Christmas was too good. Them Christmas trees was too good, man. They wanted to be with other guys, man. Because you know why Israel wants to go with other guys so bad? Anybody know why? Go ahead,
They don't have the law.
Exactly. They don't have no requirements. These other laws, these other heathen gods, quote unquote gods, they don't have law that you got to follow. Right?
Right.
They are man-made. So if it says it's man-made, men want to follow it. See what I'm saying?
It's like, sir, if I may, that's why so many of us fall into that trap of Christianity. Because in Christianity, there's no...
it's man-made.
There's no accountability.
Exactly. It's man-made. Right. Because if man makes something, there's no fixing it. There's no repercussions. Right? Because man made it. But if God makes it, he has repercussions. But we'll go ahead,
If I may, just piggybacking, piggybacking what you said earlier, about, they used to feed trash to pigs. I was just looking at a little article here, and it went up until 1943. D.C. was feeding pigs trash for about over 30 years. Right? New York City did it. New England, and they updated the USDA guidelines stating that it's safe to feed pigs back in 2009. You know what I mean?
You said it's safe?
Salaki.
He said it's what to feed pigs?
It's safe to feed pigs trash, garbage, as long as you boil it for 30 minutes and all that. So it was back in, D.C., Washington, and all that, New York City, New England, and many other places up until 1943. As oppressed as the devil, the Bible speaks of.
Exactly. That's why, two things I'm just going to bring up real quick. That's why if you look at, you from New York, what's the name of that, the part of New York they got all the trash at?
It's this island that they got all the trash at.
Exactly. Staten Island, right?
I forgot the name, but those who live there would certainly call it trash.
You said they wouldn't call it trash?
Those who live in Staten Island most definitely call it trash.
Exactly. It's Staten Island, yep. That's an island right there. They got like, if you look up in Staten Island, from what somebody told me is, you look up real high, you think it's a mountain, but no, it's trash. The United States was trying to get rid of like trash that they was giving. They was throwing it out and they was trying to give it out to other people or whatever. And they was dumping their trash over in like Vietnam area. And then they ended up sending so much trash over to them that they start sending the mess back. Like, we ain't gonna be a landfill for America, because they were just throwing their trash. And you know why we have so much trash in America? Because we eat the trash, this trash disposals. That's why we got so much trash. We eat the trash disposals. They're letting them live to eat the trash. We eat them. Go ahead.
That's heavy right there. I'm going to have to use that on my post.
Go ahead.
But, you know, thinking about how the white man is the devil, one of the things they do to trick, especially us, because you know that they can eat whatever they want, they'll tell you that it's grass-fed.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you now that the pig is grass-fed because he isn't eating his own feces, but he does, because you're not controlling what the
Exactly, yeah.
They can say
It's grass-fed.
Right.
That means that's what they fed him.
Right.
That don't mean that's what he ate.
Right, because if the pig next to him died, he'd eat that pig.
Exactly. That's why you're not supposed to eat pigs, man. They're the garbage disposal. All right? Let me see here.
Sir, if I may.
All right. Go ahead.
Real quick, sir, if I may, I think in a lot of these supermarkets say it's grass fed, but what you're trying to say is it's trash fed. You know, it's like,
Girl. And that's what pigs is for, man. That's why we got so much trash here, man. Landfills are trash because we don't. The people that think they're supposed to eat it, we eat them, right? Go ahead quickly though.
So like you, sir.
Uh-huh.
That you said about back in those days when they would throw the trash out.
Mhm.
I've heard that before. Is there a precept or a story that in the Bible where I can find that, or is it just through history and study?
From what I know, it's just through history.
Okay.
I don't know of it being thrown out. I just know, like in the Byzantine Empire in Europe, they would throw it out in the middle of the. They would throw it out like outside the window. All right. Okay, keep reading.
So like
Verse 20.
Come on. The book of Judges chapter 2, verse 20. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 21, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died.
So when we get called in them nations that he drove us out of, he got us out of there, he said he's not going to let us come out of that no more, right? Keep going.
Verse 22, that through them I may prove Israel whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein, as their fathers did keep it or not.
So he's going to prove to see, he's going to let you show and prove if you're going to keep it or not, right? Keep going.
Verse 23, therefore the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily, neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua.
So he did that. He left those nations because when the Most High, when he lets other nations come and take us over, he's on their side right now because he told you what to do, right? He left those nations without driving them out hastily. He drove them. When he drove them out and he seen you start coming back, he let them come right back in, right? Neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua. He didn't deliver all the nations in the hand of Joshua because he see what we are doing, right? He see that, we still want to be like these other nations so bad, man. And that's really what our problem is. We love these other nations. We want to have dreads like them. We want to do all the stuff other nations do, man. But we not other nations. We a special nation, right?
Right.
All right. Let me get Psalm 67 and 4. Real quick.
The book of Psalms, chapter 67, verse 4. Oh, let the nations be glad and sing for joy.
So the nations, they're going to be happy. They're going to sing for joy. Keep going.
For thou shalt judge the people righteously and govern the nations upon earth. Salah.
So this is, we gonna judge, and we gonna, what does it say?
We're going to judge the people righteously and govern the nations upon the
And
earth.
govern the nations. We gonna govern them, and we gonna judge them righteously. This is talking about Israel doing that, right? Now drop that. Give me 1 Kings 3 and 16. 1 Kings 3 and 16. I'll try to go over this kind of quick. It's a couple stories I want to bring out.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 3, verse 16.
Now, let me tell you a little backstory. The person that's ruling now is Solomon. Solomon was known as the wisest man at one point, right? He was known as the wisest man. Wait, before you get there, hold on. My bad, I went out of order. Go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. 1 Samuel chapter 8. Right? The first verse.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 8, verse 1. And it came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel.
So when he got old, he made his sons judges over Israel, right? This is where it started changing to become a king over Israel, right? Now go to verse 4.
Verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah. Verse 5. And said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
Like who?
All the nations.
All the nations. We want to be like everybody else. Again, we had judges set up, and we was doing, halfway decent. We was doing halfway decent, right? And now they want to get a king, right, over us, right? Because it's like all the other nations. We already had judges. The Lord gave us judges. Now he wanted the king, right? Now, keep reading.
Verse 6. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
So he didn't want judges. Israel didn't want judges because the Most High wanted judges. So they rejected the Most High and wanted a king. So he said, they have now, don't be mad about it. Let me be mad. Right? They haven't rejected you, they rejected me. All right,
So would we be able to use this as them wanting a king? That's why they vote for a president and not Israel, not us to be their judges?
Exactly. They want a president. They want something, they want a king to rule over them. That's why, if you know something about Israel, right? Like, we're not supposed to vote, of course, right? But if you know something about Israel, we don't vote for the, local politicians that really make most of the laws that we have to deal with, right? We don't know a thing about legislation. We don't vote, we don't know nothing about no judges. We don't know nothing about none of these other people. But we know We wanted Trump out and we wanted Biden in. Right? We wanted Barack Obama to be our king. We don't care about nothing else. Right? That's the same spirit that's how you know we Israelites. Because we worried more about the king than the judges that's here that's actually control what we can and can't do. All right? Keep going.
Verse 8. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so do they also unto thee.
So he said, according to all the works they have done since the day, all of the evil that they've done, right? They have forsaken them and forsaken the Most High, served other gods. So they do also unto thee. So he's saying they don't want to serve you. They still want to serve other gods or other powers. Right? Keep going.
Verse 9. Now therefore hearken unto their voice. Howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and shew them the matter of the king that shall reign over them.
So he said, okay, listen to them. Give it to them what they want. But then protest solemnly and show them how this king is going to rule over them. Keep going.
Verse 10. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king.
Keep going.
Verse 11. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. And some shall run before his chariots.
So he gonna take all, because he's gonna be all powerful over you. When the judges never had that power, right? He's gonna take it because it's too powerful for one man to have all of that, right? Keep going.
Verse 12. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots.
So that's what he's going to have as captains over. And he's going to be the one that has to do all of this. So now he's going to have all his captains reaping all this, reaping all of this harvest and all of this stuff, right? Go ahead.
Would this be talking about the military?
Yeah, military stuff. So instead of them focus on keeping the alts between brothers and sisters, they're going to be more focused on the military, more focused on, we're going to skip past some of this for time's sake, because it's already 8:22, and I still got another story or two to bring out, right? So we're going to skip past a little bit of it. And they're going to, take a lot of things from you, right? Not going to let you have a lot of things because it's the kings, right? Go to verse 18.
Verse 18, sir?
Yep, 18.
Come, verse 18. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you, which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Verse 19. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us.
Like we had a wicked king, Saul, right? You seen what he did. He was taking the wrong things. He was taking people's stuff he shouldn't have been taking, right? He shouldn't have been there's one part he's going to take their daughters and wives and all. Remember, he tried to take his daughter back, gave his daughter back. What was it, Milpa or something like that? He gave his daughter to be married, and now he took him back because now he don't like David. And see, he started taking all, instead of worrying about alts, he trying to find David now, right? But if he had judges, it wouldn't have been set up like that, right? Keep going.
Come, verse 20. That we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles.
So now we sound like a bunch of cowards now. We don't want to fight our battles no more. He wants a king to go out and fight our battles for us. That's just like how we are now. We want somebody else that's a shining star, right, to fight all our battles for us. They want them to go the difference between all the other people, all the other leaders, and Commander General Yahanna, Commander General Yahanna is raising up his replacements. All the other people are raising up more sheep, more followers. Brother Polite is bringing up more followers. Commander General Yahanna is raising up people that can rule in his stead. So when he, everybody has to die at some point. It's just the way it is. So when he passes and he has to pass it on, he's raised another brother in his stead that's going to keep everything going on the same way it was. Just like the men before him, they raised him up so he can take on that. He could take the baton, right? All right. Go to 22.
Come on, verse 22. And the Lord said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city.
So he got him a king. He got him a King Saul, who, guess what, was scared to death about this Philistine named Goliath. Was scared to death, right? And the only man that was willing to do it, he went on a whole crusade trying to kill him, man. Right? On a whole crusade, spent countless amount of money on trying to find David because he knew the kingdom was taken away from him because he disobeyed God. Right? All right, drop that. Let me give you a couple examples of what rule and how judgment is supposed to be done, right? We already heard that we went to the scripture, hear the whole matter or whatever. We went there already, all right? Now let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. We already went there. Go to 1 Kings 3 and 16.
The book of 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16.
Uh-huh. Now, this is, like I said, this is when Solomon was ruling, right? So now you see we had to get somebody who was more righteous to rule because Saul didn't do it, so they needed David because you see all of the folly of having kings over Israel. Didn't work. So that's why we needed Christ to be the king, right? Keep going.
Come on, verse 16. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king and stood before him.
So two women came up, stood before him. Right, he's about to do a judgment. Keep going.
Come on, verse 17. And the women said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house.
And the one woman said that. Okay, keep going.
Come on. And I was delivered of a child with her in the house.
So they was delivered. She had a baby while she was, she had a baby while she was with the other woman in the house. Keep going.
Come on, verse 18. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also.
So this woman had a baby too. 3 days later, two pregnant women living together. Right? Keep going.
Come on.
They were harlots. They obviously didn't have a husband.
Come on.
Right? He said that's the first problem. Because the husband would have been there and have been like, hey, y'all need to, well, I'm telling the story. Keep going.
And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house.
They were together, nobody else there. Keep going.
Verse 19. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it.
So have anybody ever heard of like pregnant women when you first have a baby, you be so tired because the baby doesn't sleep the correct times. So now women, they will be asleep and they'll roll on top of their baby. Like they'll sleep in the same bed with their baby because they don't want the baby to sleep in another place. Because, they want to hear what's going on with the baby, but they're so tired they lay on top of the baby and then the baby suffocates. Right? That's what happened in this time. Keep going.
Verse 20. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom.
So now they went and switched babies, right? Took her dead child, put it over with her. Because, like a woman, like going through pregnancy is hell for a woman, right? Going through 9 months of not being able to really move how you want to move. Then you had go through all of that pain when you have the baby. And now, because of a simple mistake, you know, you don't have the baby no more. So a lot of women, they would go and they would replace, like, it'll be times, like there's stories of women when they'll have a baby in the hospital, the baby dies, they'll find another baby and steal the baby because they want a baby. They've been dreaming and hoping and praying for this baby to come back healthy. Something happens, now they're like, what do I have? So that's like a real hard thing for a woman. They didn't sat and watch, you know, seeing the baby grow inside of them, and then, you know, it's like a traumatizing experience for women, right? Keep going.
Verse 21. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did there.
So then now, she rose in the morning to give, so she can, feed the baby, right? But then she like, wait a minute, hold up, this ain't my child. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Verse 22. And the other woman said, nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son.
So this is my son, the one that's living. That's your dead son. Keep going.
And this said, no, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son.
So now they switching it back. They blaming each other, right? Keep going.
Thus they spake before the king.
Keep
Verse
going.
23. Then said the king, the one saith, this is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living.
So both of them saying, my child is the one that's living, yours is the one that's dead, right? Keep going.
Verse 24. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king.
Keep going.
Verse 25. And the king said, divide the living child in two.
So he said, I'm going to just divide and split it right in half. Right? Keep going.
And give half to the one and half to the other.
So, because y'all can't decide. I'm going to split the baby in half, man. So both of y'all have half a baby. Keep going.
Verse 26. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my Lord, give her the living child.
So she said, you know what? Give her the living child. Right? Keep going.
And in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it.
So he said, so one said, the one that was actual mother said, just, don't kill it. Just let her have the child. Another one said, let neither one of us have it. Keep going.
Verse 27. Then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof.
So he said, that's the mother, because the mother wants the child to survive, to live, right? And because a woman that already has a dead baby has a very, like if you notice, like a woman that's have abortions, like something about that woman, she dies when she has that abortion. Like a lot of women would tell you they would never have another. I've heard women say, I had one abortion, I'll never have another one. Because a part of them, like, that's why I think a lot of times our women are so messed up. They say we have like 400,000 abortions a year, right? The women abort their babies, man. It just takes a part of their soul. So her soul became corrupted because she basically killed her child. So now she felt like nobody should have a child. And that's how a lot of women that's why a lot of women, they have abortions, like they can't really, I mean, yeah, they can have some empathy, but it's not the same as if they had before. You get me? All right. That's a good one to bring out too if somebody has an abortion breakdown too. What you saying?
That's a lot. So this right here was a heavy one. I could have used this some months ago with the young lady that I was speaking with who was confused over, there's a bunch of the immigrants, or our Israelite brothers that are crossing the border. A lot of times the parents will send their children together with someone, or to send them on their way to cross the border, and they'll stay behind. And one of the incidents happened where one child died, but then the other one was put in the detention center, but the parents were still in Mexico. She couldn't understand how a parent could do that. She said she could never do it. And I kept trying to explain to her it's because they wanted the child to live. They thought that their child was going to die where they were. So this right here is a great breakdown of that, because she wanted her child to live no matter where the child was. So this right here would have been great for her, because she couldn't understand how a mother would let her child go. And I said, well, do you think that you would stay in a place where you knew everyone was dying? Would you want your daughter to die with you if she had a chance to get away? Obviously, her answer was, yeah, I want her to be with me.
Exactly. So that's a good breakdown for that too. Anybody got any questions on that? All right. You don't really need to read 28. Drop that. Give me Proverbs 29 and 14 real quick. And do you know why? You know why Christ is going to? Do you know why Christ is the king, the only king that we allowed to have? Read that. Read that when you get it.
Come on. The book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 14.
No, that's it. I thought I said something else. 29 and 14.
Oh, come on. The book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 14. The king that faithfully judges the poor, his throne shall be established forever.
Because Christ, he faithfully, that means with every decision he made, he judged the poor. It's easy to judge for the rich and just make them win, but he judged the poor. He cared about the poor people. Just like when I think I read it before. Like there was a story that Samuel said to King David, because you know when King David, when he committed adultery, y'all know about this, right? You can answer.
I can't recall the details, sir.
Yeah, he committed adultery. Basically, he seen a woman that she was washing herself on top of the roof. Can't think of her name right now, but basically he committed adultery with her, and it was like a poor man, right? And Samuel said, "I'm about to say something."
Kind of, sir, if I may. The lady the sister was Bathsheba.
Bathsheba.
If I may, Saul's daughter was Michal, Michaela, English, Salaki.
Okay, the water. So Bathsheba, he seen her. It was a beautiful woman. He had already had all these other women. He didn't need her. He ended up sleeping with her, getting her pregnant, and all that. Try to pass it out to her husband. Try to say like it was his baby, but he was like, no, I need to stay, because like it was like the army was sleeping in tents, and he said, I'm not gonna go home and have the army sleeping in tents. I'm gonna go sleep with the army of the Lord, right? So, and then when all that happened, he sent them out to a hot battlefield where he knew he was going to pretty much die. And that man went there to die, right? And then Samuel had a story about, he said that a rich man got all of these sheep, and there's this poor man, he has one good sheep, and that rich man took the poor man's sheep. And David got all on his high horse saying, man, find them, and I'll take care of this myself. And then he said, Samuel said, you are that rich man, because you took that one poor man's thing that he had, which was a beautiful woman. That was all he had, and you took it like you didn't have enough. And Most High said, I would have given you more. I gave you all these women. I would have given you more if you would have just asked. Right? He already got the one sister that had a husband. He killed her husband. And he got her. Right? Okay. See, I'm having a problem with names. You might have to get that one for me too, Azar. You know the one woman where she had the husband? Huh?
Sir, Abigail.
Abigail, there you go. Yeah, it's Sister Abigail. He killed her husband and he was able to take her. She was a good wife. And he was a foolish man, right? He didn't even know what he had. And so he ended up getting Abigail, right? So he would have done that. So, all right, now get me the book of Susanna in Apocrypha.
I can say.
Go ahead.
Don't so it's real heavy. It's bringing out.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, that's such a strong story of brotherhood to the the main. I think he was the captain or the one of the strongest fighters. His name was Uriah, I believe. He sent out to die in the battlefield so he could take Bathsheba.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe General Muhammad was saying the story, and they named a brother in it was Houston, the school of Houston. He got raised up, and his name was Uriah, if I'm not mistaken. And the general said it's a glorious thing. This is his sight. It's a powerful brother. That's Salaki.
What's his name in Hebrew? Do you know the Hebrew version?
I believe it's Uriah, sir. Salaki. You know what? I got you. I got to double check Salaki, sir.
Yeah, double check for me. All right.
Salaki.
Go ahead, sis.
It just actually explaining it that way, it makes you think on a level of that happens daily, even in the community where, for an example, it would be like a rich drug dealer taking away those or a certain type of chick that, she might be more loyal to somebody who might not have as much. That his money or whatever he has may kind of like entice her to kind of like get on his team or whatnot, and taking that one good woman, she could have been good to that one person who probably didn't have a lot. That's how I kind of see it in my head, in a sense, when you explained it that way.
Definitely. I'm trying to see. Trying to see if I can. I just want to find it so y'all would know. So y'all can know where it's at. I'm not seeing it right now. Hey Azar, can you pull up that part where he had that where he came up to him and told him that, where Samuel said that to him? He said, "You are that rich man." Can you find that for me real quick? I just want y'all to have it so y'all can make sure that I want y'all to know where all this stuff is. So y'all can write all this stuff down.
Kind of, sir.
All right, the water. All right. Did I tell you where to go for me?
You just said Susanna.
Susanna is the whole thing. All right.
Starting from chapter 1?
God, it was only one chapter.
Oh, kind of.
Go ahead.
The book of Susanna, chapter 1, verse 1.
Go ahead.
There dwelt a man in Babylon called Laosim.
Yep.
Verse 2. And he took a wife, whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias.
Oh, yeah, that's Shawashana in Hebrew. Shawashana, Susanna. Keep going.
A very fair woman.
A very pretty woman, right?
And one that feared the Lord.
One that feared the Most High. Keep going.
Verse 3. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4. Now Laosim was a great rich man and had a fair garden. Slovakia. I'm reading the Old English. What does this say? Ioning unto his house.
Joining into his house.
Okay. And to him restored the lewds.
Resorted the Jews.
Oh, so okay. Because he was more honorable than all others.
Yep. So the Jews, they resort, like everybody liked coming to his house because he was so honorable, right? Keep going.
Verse 5. The same ye were appointed to the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of Salakia, that wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient judges, who seemed to govern the people.
So, two ancient people, ancients of the people, to be judges. Two of the ancients, they got the older people, right? Two of the older people, such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient judges who seemed to govern the people. So they had wickedness in Babylon, but people that we was trying to come out of captivity, was ruling the people the wrong way. Keep going.
Verse 6. They kept much at Losium's house, and all that had a suit in law came unto them.
That's what lawsuits. Anybody had lawsuits, they came to them. All right, keep going.
Verse 7. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk.
So now everybody left at noon. It was probably lunchtime, right? Everybody went to go get something to eat. She went into her husband's garden to walk around. Keep going.
Verse 8. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed towards her.
So now, every day she would go and do that, walk around the garden. So that's where the issue of it is. You see that you're supposed to get men that hated covetousness. These men obviously didn't hate covetousness because they coveting the sister, right? They purposely would go to the garden to watch her walking around, right? Keep going.
Verse 9. And they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments.
So now they turned their eyes away from the Most High, and they don't remember those just judgments anymore. Now they judging people the wrong way. Keep going.
Verse 10. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one shew another his grief.
So they all were like wounded by her love. Like they were all like so infatuated with her, and they don't even want to show the other person how much they really like this woman. Right? Keep going.
Verse 11. For they were ashamed to declare their lust.
So they was ashamed. They didn't want everybody. They didn't want each other to know because they knew it was wicked. They coveting this woman. They knew it was wicked. Right? Keep going.
That they desired to have to do, that they desired to have to do with her.
So what they desired to do with this woman, they didn't want to show that. Keep going.
Verse 12. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her.
Watched diligently. They didn't want to talk about it, but they was about it. They wanted to look every day. Right? That's why Christ said, if you look at a woman to lust after her, you have already committed sin. Right? In your own heart. What are these brothers doing? Committing sin in their own heart. They look at her every day to covet after her. Right? Keep going.
Verse 13. And the one said to the other, let us now go home, for it is dinner time.
They ain't watching that long from lunch to dinner. Keep going.
Verse 14. So when they were gone out, they parted the one from the other, and turned back again. They came to the same place.
so they said, all right, man, all right, Frank, all right, Sam, we going this way. They went back, and they came back around. They go look at us some more. Keep going.
And after they had asked one another the cause, they acknowledged their lust.
So yeah, they acknowledged that they had lust after her now, right? They said, yeah, man, I just want to see her again, man. I just wanted to look at her again. Keep going.
Then appointed they a time both together, when they might find her alone.
So then they said, yo, we probably can find her alone around such this time. They said, okay, cool.
Verse 15. And it fell out as they watched the fit time. She went in as before with two maids only.
So, all right, where you at?
Verse 15, sir.
15? Okay. They waited that time. She went in as before. She went with her two maids, right? This is a woman like she got, her husband's rich, right? They got two maids with her, watching her, just being with her at her service, right? Keep going.
Oh my God. And she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. So
she wanted to wash. It was hot. It was hot outside, man. She wanted to, sprinkle some water on her. You know what I'm saying? Maybe wash up, whatever the case is. Keep going.
Verse 17. Then she said to her maids, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors.
Oh, wait, I think you skipped 16.
Oh, so like in verse 16. And there was nobody there, save the two elders, that had hid themselves and watched her.
So now they biblical peeping times right now, right? That's what they doing, peeping times. They watching her. right? Keep going.
Verse 17. Then she said to her maid, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors, that I may wash me.
So she wanted them to bring the oil, all of the things, so she can wash herself, right? Keep going.
Verse 18. And they did as she bade them. And bade them.
And she bade them. They did as she asked. Keep going.
And shut the garden doors and went out themselves to provide
at privy doors,
at
private doors,
to fetch the things that she had commanded them, but saw not the elders because they were hid.
So they was hiding somewhere. They went out the other doors, but they didn't see those elders, right? Keep going.
Now when the maid were gone forth, the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent us and lie with us.
So they're saying, now look, these doors are shut. Nobody can see us now. We want you. Therefore, give us some, right? Lay with us, right? Keep going.
Verse 21. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maid from thee. So
he said, if you don't do it, we gonna say you had a man in here, some young man in here, right? And then that's why you sent your maids from here, right? Because you had this young man you was trying to get. Keep going.
Verse 22. Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side.
So now she's saying, she sighed, I'm straightened on every side. I'm straight and narrow on every side. Keep going.
For if I do this thing, it is death unto me.
So if I do this, if I lay with you, this is my death. Keep going.
And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands.
So if I do it not, I'm going to escape your hand. I want to escape your hands. Right? Keep going.
Verse 23. It is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord.
So it's better for her to sin. I'm sorry, so like, it's better for her to fall into their hands and go to whatever they got for her than sin in the Most High's eyes. Right? Keep going.
Verse 24. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her.
So then she yelled. You know what I'm saying? And all of them start yelling against her, right? The same elder, they start yelling too, right? Start arguing. Keep going.
Verse 25. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. Verse 26. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden.
So now one of the elders, when it opened up the garden door, so the servants, they heard it, right? Keep going.
They rushed in at a privy door to see what was done unto her.
So they rushed in to see what the hell was going on, right? Keep going.
Verse 27. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna.
So now the elders had declared this matter. So the servants was like ashamed that this happened, right? Because they never heard a report. Now this is important for sisters too. You need to always have a good report, have a good, what's what I'm looking for? What people think of you, a good reputation. You want to need to have a good reputation at all times. Your reputation is who you are, right? You need to have a good reputation. Keep going.
Verse 28. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband Losium, and the two elders came also, full of mischievous imaginations against Susanna, to put her to death.
So it all came to pass the next day. Everybody was assembled. You know what I'm saying? This is like the courtroom, right? So they also came of all of this stuff that they were saying against Susanna, right? Keep going.
Verse 29. And said before the people, send for Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, Losium's wife.
So, they went and requested her to come now because, they all saying, this is what this sister's doing. This is what's going on. All right, bring her here so she can be judged. Keep going.
And so they sent. Verse 30. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred.
So she came in with her family, father, mother, children, cousins, aunties, uncles, all of that. Keep going.
Verse 31. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold.
Pretty delicate. Keep going.
Verse 32. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face.
And these wicked men, because, you know, she's covered up, you know what I'm saying? What it says, for she was covered, right? Because she was like, kind of like in shame of what's going on with her. So she's covered. Keep going.
That they might be filled with her beauty. Verse 33. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept.
So she wanted, you know, cover up the shame, and then she's crying. So she didn't want nobody to see her crying, right? All of this stuff. They didn't want her face to be seen. But these men that's so full of lust, they wanted to see that face again. All right, keep reading.
Verse 34. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head.
So then they wanted to touch her. Couldn't just look at her and touch her one time, right? Keep going.
Verse 35. And she, weeping, looked up towards heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord.
Keep going.
Verse 36. And the elders said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids and shut the garden doors and sent the maids away. Verse 37. Then a young man who there was hid came out unto her and lay with her.
So now, like this is kind of, I'm gonna probably get more into it, but this is elders. They all saying this. So where were they at?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They hid in there or whatever. Sit the maids away. Keep going.
Verse 38. Then we that stood in the corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them.
They seen this wickedness. We just happened to be in the corner watching this beautiful woman. Just happened to be there, right? Keep going.
Verse 39. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out.
So, man, he was stronger. You know, was a young man. So he was stronger and faster. They couldn't hold him. He got the hell up out of there, right? Because he knew this was death. This was a death sentence, right? Keep going.
Verse 40. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify.
So he's saying this is our, you know, so help me God, whatever, you know, the Christians say. That's what we testify against, right? We asked her, but she didn't want to tell us. Keep going.
Then the assembly believed them, as those that were elders and judges of the people, so they condemned her to death. So then
everybody, all the people assembled, believed these two wicked men, right? And they says, you must die for this. Keep going.
Verse 42. Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God that knowest the secrets and knowest all things before thee be. Verse 43. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me.
So she went out and cried out loud and said all this, said, I must die. Whereas I'm innocent, and then I must die, right? You know what I've done. You know the secrets. You got angels that's telling you what's happening, what's not happening, right? Keep going.
Verse 44. And the Lord heard her voice. Verse 45. Therefore, when she was held to be put to death, the Lord raised up the
She was led to be put to death.
Led to be put to death. The Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel.
So now he rose up the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is, what's the Holy Spirit? We all should know that, right? What's the Holy Spirit?
Truth.
No. The Holy Spirit it's a vibe you get from the Most High that allows you to do what the Most High wants you to do. It comforts you, gives you courage. So this boy Daniel, it raised up his spirit. So now, you know, we're going to see what he's going to do. Keep going.
Verse 46. Who cried with a loud voice, I am clear for the blood. I'm clear for the blood of this woman. Verse 47. Then all the people turned to them.
So he's yelled out, I'm clear from the blood of this woman, right? Keep going. I'm clean from this blood. Keep going.
Verse 47, then all the people turned them toward him and said, what mean these words that thou hast spoken?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 48, so he is standing in the midst of them and said, are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination of knowledge of the truth, ye have condemned a daughter of Israel?
So he said, are you such fools that y'all don't do no examination? Y'all don't go, they don't do no detectiveness. They don't do anything, right? They just take these men's word for it, right? Keep going.
Verse 49, return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her.
So he said, go back to that place, right? Go back to there, where they have borne, they have made that false witness against her. Keep going.
Verse 50, wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elders said unto him, come sit down amongst us, and shew it us, seeing God hath given thee the honor of an elder.
So he said, come, elders said unto him, he said, told Daniel, come sit down among us, seeing God have he's given you the honor of an elder. See, the water, they used them elders because elders are supposed to be wise, right? But these weren't men of the Lord, they were men of Satan, right? They wanted to be what Satan wanted them to be. They went with their lust instead of, judging the poor, right? Judging the poor doesn't always mean poor in money. It means the downtrodden, right? Because right now, it don't matter how much money her husband got, she's about to die, right? Keep going.
Verse 51. Then said Daniel unto them, put these two aside, one far from another, and I will examine them.
So okay, we gonna put one of them over here, and we're gonna do some examination. This was like with police, they split you up first thing, right? And get your statements. So everything the oppressor does, they got from the Bible. Don't let them tell you nothing different, right? They split them up, got them in two different rooms, so to speak. Of course, they back at the place in the garden, of course, where they had, but just put it in like that type of perspective. All right, keep going.
Verse 52.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were put asunder, one from another, he called one of them and said unto him, oh, thou that art waxen old in wickedness.
So now, when they did it, he called one of them and said, oh, your old wicked behind, you waxing old in wickedness. So he chastised them at the same time, right? That's funny. I got to use that. Waxing old in wickedness. Keep going.
Now thy sins which thou had committed aforetime are come to light.
So he said, now your sins are coming to light that you just committed. Keep going.
Verse 53. For thou hast pronounced false judgment and hast condemned the innocent, hast let the guilt go free.
The guilty go free.
Albeit the Lord said, the innocent and righteous shalt thou not slay.
So the Most High said this: you ain't about to slay this innocent, right? This person that's following the law. Keep going.
Verse 54. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them company together? Who answered, under what's this?
Mastic tree.
A mastic tree. So like this is old.
Yeah, you good. But yeah, it's a mastic tree. I forget what that is these days. But it's a certain type of tree, right? Keep going.
Verse 55. And Daniel said, very well, thou hast lied against thine own head.
So he said, you lying against your own head. Now your head about to be on the slaughter, on the chopping block. Keep going.
For even now the angel of God hath received the sentence of God to cut thee in two.
So now you have received the sentence. You're going to cut you in half. All right, keep going.
Verse 56. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other, and said unto him, O thou seed of
Canaan,
and not of Judah. Wow. Salakia. Beauty hath deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thine heart.
So now he's calling him a Gentile now. Right? And you not of Judah. You of Canaan. Right? Call him now a Canaanite. Right? Keep going.
Verse 57. Thus have ye dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they for fear company with you, but the daughter of Judah would not abide your wickedness.
So he said, they've done this before. They've dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they, for fear, accompanied with you. They've done this because, they knew that you had the power to put them to death, right? They accompanied to you, but not this child of Judah. Keep going.
From verse 58. Now therefore tell me, under what tree didst thou take them company together? Who answered, under a home tree.
So now it's a different tree of this garden, right? So now he's like, okay, we got you. Keep going.
From verse 59. Then said Daniel unto him, well, thou hast also lied against thine own head. For the angel of God waiteth with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you.
That he gonna destroy you, right? Now you just lied against your own head. Keep going.
From verse 60. With all the assembly cried out with a loud voice, and praised God, who saveth them that trust in him.
So, that's common sense. Keep going.
Verse 61. And they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convinced them, convicted them of false witness by their own mouth.
So now these people that have been convicted by their own mouth, he's showing them that they were lying. Showed the whole congregation that they were lying, right? By their juice with their own mouth. They showed that they lied. Keep going.
Verse 62. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. So
they wanted to do to her, have her killed, chopped in half. That's what happened to them, right? Keep going. This last verse.
Therefore Chelcias and his wife praised God for their daughter Susanna, with Laosam, her husband, and all kindred, because there were no dishonesty found in her.
So now she was praying, now they was like, thank God, man. She wasn't a whore, man. Thank God she wasn't a whore. All right? You can read that last one.
From verse 64. From that day forth was Daniel had in great reputation in the sight of the people.
So from then, because he's shown he can actually judge people righteously, now his reputation grew. And that's why even that devil came up and said they're seeing the reputation of Captain Tazariak, and he said, I would rather stake my life with you than even my own people, man. My own people, I'd rather stake it with you. Because, what does it say? When the wicked rule, the people mourn, but when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. That's how they're supposed to do. They should be happy to come under men that come out junior Yahanna to be judged, right?
Right.
All right. Anybody got any questions at all? Or anything to say? Go ahead.
Excellent class, sir. Learned a lot of things. Excellent class.
That's right. The water. Anybody else? Anybody else? There's nothing on the online over questions?
Yeah. Wow, sir.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I get everybody's attendance on for today. I get everybody's attendance. Anybody that didn't get accounted for. All right, with that, I pass the class over to Precinct Officer Kasayana.
Shalom, Israel. These are the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is the commandment, Numbers 18 to 21, Malachi 3, 8 to 10, means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation will be September 6th, the feast of the memorial blowing of trumpets. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, I'm going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Imagine, which means to stand. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
And what I just said was, may the Most High bless you in the name of Christ. Y'all tie hands down. We have a sister in the class. We're going to give the sister one courtesy salute. Want to turn? Men of Israel, Imagine. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine. Barak. Yahweh Shemar Lathan B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. And what we've just said is, may the Most High watch over you in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yazmatah, hands down, class dismissed.